birth certificate. She has then handed you over. In fact, she is the informant that lets the state know, that hands over the product, which is in fact, you have to remember that the birth certificate was first actually created to deal with the higher breeding and the higher stock of cattle. And they only in 1933 began to use it as a way and a reference for dealing with human beings, based upon the deal that was made between the private bankers and the United States government, which, by the way, committed treason by signing the Federal Reserve Act. Anyway, but that's another thing altogether. The main thing is that your mother, and you'll notice underneath the place where she used to sign, underneath the black part, it does not say mother or father, it says informant. So your mother informed on you, dropped a dime on you unknowingly, and gave you over to the state, by which that bond, which is $1 million back then, was then formed around your name, which created a corporation that looked like your name but was made in all capital letters. It is that which is being moved against in all manners of commerce outside of the private sector. And until you have reclaimed not ownership, but jurisdiction over that, by letting the state and those who play in the game know that you know how the game is being played and you're not part of it anymore, then you step over into the private side.
And that is what we do. That is the theme of our show, public and private. And that's what we do. We teach on this show. We go into all of the different ways into privatizing yourself. We talk about private trust, all these different things. We get into that. I mean, that was a major discovery for me in my trek through all of this information, discovering, this is about private. That's where rights are. That's where your rights under the creator of the boundless universe exist. You have to be on the private side, not in this fictional world, this construct that they created out of their own belfry. But this is great. This is great. Hey, we got a lot of people on the line who want to ask you a question. Are you open to field some questions from our studio audience?
By all means, on this beautiful Sunday morning.
Okay, great. Okay, we have a sister, Jody, in, I think this is Hemet, California. She says she has a question on who are the extraterrestrials. Sister Jody, how are you doing this fine morning? You're on Welcome to High Frequency Radio.
Hello. How's everybody doing?
Great.
That's
great.
Good.
What's your question, sir?
Yeah. Well, I wanted to know, who are the extraterrestrials? Because I hear a lot of different things. I hear that we as melanated people are, or the Europeans are, because they're different. I just want to know a little bit more on that, because I'm kind of confused on which is which.
Well,
and what's
we are.
good or what's bad.
Well, we are the extraterrestrials. We are the nomads. We are the cosmic. In my book, The Cosmic Codex, I define us, the original us, as cosmic nomads. We take up residence on all different planets throughout the universe, throughout creation, and throughout the dimensions that constitute creation. So we are cosmic nomads. And the very fact that we are fed by the sun's cosmic rays and the stars' cosmic rays, and we are constituted of cosmic material, means that we are extraterrestrials. Now, in the prosaic term, and in the common or what we call the regular way that we talk about extraterrestrials, they are black as well. And evidence of that was in my book, in my program that I had spoken about with the extraterrestrial realities that we were dealing from. And it was a man by the name of Norman Berggren. And Norman Berggren wrote a book called Ringmakers of Saturn. And this man is 90 years old, still has pretty much of his own faculties left. This man had a clearance 3 times higher than the President of the United States when he headed up this extraterrestrial group of researchers. He had a space in the Pentagon that went at least 5 or 6 levels deep, and his office was about a 5 by 5 or 6 by 6 hole where they kept him away from the public. He came out and wrote a book called The Ringmakers of Saturn, which at the time it was written was over $2,000. He came out and started speaking about the fact that during the time when Buzz Aldrin and I believe the other one who was his partner, when they retrieved the capsule as it came back from its mission, out stepped at least 7 feet to 8 feet 2 black men that ended up becoming part of that ended up being in the capsule with them when they landed, and were taken to a place called in Baltimore, where they keep the extraterrestrials in a level about maybe about 600 or 800 or 1,000 feet under the ground. And he was very clear and specific about the fact that they weren't dark, that they weren't colored, they weren't brown, they were completely black. And of course, we saw that when George Clinton himself tried to tell everybody back in the days when he stepped out of it looking black in his spaceship and so forth, and Earth, Wind, and Fire doing the same thing. But we are I call us the hypercelestials because there was never a time when we were not. In other words, there was never a beginning to us. There is only a continuum, because there was no beginning to the Creator. And at the time the Creator, in its decision to be, not just to become, that means, we existed, because the very act of creation created something great as itself. You can't create something of yourself that is not as great as yourself. So in the first stages of creation, the mind of the Creator journeyed inward towards itself and created that space for what we call creation at this time. And we existed at that very point. We didn't come from any slime. We didn't come from a monkey. We didn't come from any of those. We always were. So we are these nomadic hypercelestials coming from different dimensions, participating in different quadrants and different densities of reality, all to act as the feedback merchants and the feedback emissaries to the Creator.
That's very beautifully stated. The sister accidentally got dropped off the line, so she can't come in and respond on that. But that was very beautifully stated, Dr. Valentine. Let me go to the next caller. We have Brother Najee in Delaware. He has a comment about thought process. Brother Najee in Delaware, 302-4248, your non-frequency radio.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear,
Can
brother.
you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Oh, okay then. Well, what I was thinking about, I was just scanning through the TV, was on the other morning, and I noticed that on BET they had this religious program. So they had these Europeans teaching religion on this channel, and all the other channels they were showing, the channels I was scanning through, they were showing other things, positive things, but on that channel specifically, they had religious shows. Then I get in the car and I'm listening to the radio, and the radio show here, we're giving out free cases of beer. So I'm thinking everything that they say towards our people is negative. So we're taking in nothing but negative energy, so it kind of clouds the way and stops everything that's positive coming to us. It seems like we're being bombarded by all this negative subliminal messages to keep us ignorant, I mean, the beer connects with what? Going to clubs, the Europeans on there talking about churches and Jesus and all that is keeping our mind set far as we need somebody else to help us, because they figure like we can't do anything without Jesus, so it's really a real serious excuse my language, mind fuck going on with our people right now. And it's apparent, but see, our people think that it's the norm, so they don't understand what's going on, where we in the conscious community, we understand because we see things like in a movie. We don't see the movie for entertainment anymore. We see it for the science that's going on in it. But our people just don't see what's going on. They're not, their brain or mind is not encapsulating what's really going on, what's happening here. So I'd like him to comment on that.
Well, I don't think I need to. You've done a good job enough. It's pretty much saying exactly what
Right. They did.
really on the mark.
Well, thank you, brother. But, you know, I just, I'm listening to the show, and it's a thorough show. It's real positive, and it's like the whole thing that I see the body as a prison, actually. And I see the only way that we can really escape, because we can't beat these people with weapons, the only way is going to be spiritual. And like you said, our people meditated themselves to death out here. Or maybe that's what we got to go to, a different plane, a different level of consciousness as far as the fifth dimension of consciousness. Or, you know, because we can't here, as far as we're being here, we have to do a lot of studying to try to stay, like, private and to stay out of the clutches of these people. But, you know, that's the only way I could see us really getting free of this madness that's going on, basically. And that's my comment. I'm going to sit back and listen, brother.
Well, yeah, we're headed in that direction, believe it or not. An idea whose time has come cannot be defeated. And the idea for us is that we've been trapped and locked down for so long, at least 2,000 years, in the reign of ignorance. The time has come when there will be a flood of knowledge and flood of understanding and overstanding that will encompass this planet. And then what we are saying here will be undeniable in the time of our children and grandchildren.
Wow. Wow. All right. Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother, for that excellent comment. Let me move on. Got another caller. We got a lot of callers in queue. Let me move on to let's see, Brother Xavier. He's out in L.A., Los Angeles, California. He has a question about women being a different species. Is that right, Brother Xavier?
Yeah. I heard, peace to the gods.
Peace to the gods, bro.
I heard, Phil, one time I was watching one of your lectures, and I came across you saying that female were a different species or a different kind of being than men, and you were going in and saying something like that. So I wanted to see if you can recall on that topic you brought up.
Yeah, I'm interested in that myself.
There are times that I use poetic license to make a point. When I say that she's a different species, I'm just simply saying that the feminine principle is different from being a man. She is unlike the man. But today she is being forced to become like the man in actions and in thought. When she is now in a double struggle to acclimate to a world that's demanding her to stay equal to men, well, within her, if she is what is called a gynic woman, she is fighting to actually express and maintain that within a world that's demanding that she doesn't. She can no longer actually have the same kind of empathy because, and feminine empathy and the surrender to her own emotions, because that is looked at as weakness, which essentially is a kind of weakness in men, because we cannot be too emotional to actually make the decisions that lead our society, that lead our families. We have to be clear. And so we are created not to have or emote. We are created to become focused and angry when certain things get difficult and out of control, whereas at most times the feminine principle doesn't actually focus and become angry. They cry, or they essentially go into another space. And this is something that women today, because over the last, say, 60 years, they've been told that that is not what a woman is, they are denying that part of themselves as if it never existed, as if that part of their empathy towards human beings, towards situations, was a weakness, and therefore they deny that in themselves. When I say that she's a different species, it means that she completely and utterly is different from us as men, because her nature and who she is to be part of that support mechanism of the family, to be the other half of us,